What's up guys, salut tout le monde. Are you trying to learn a language? Are you trying to learn a new language? Something you don't know how to speak. Something you pass by, you hear people talking, you're like,
what are they saying? That doesn't make sense to my ears.
Are you trying to learn something like that? Well, you've come to the right place because I'm going to give you my personal tips on how to learn a new language. Now, before going forward in this video, I want to say that I am not a language expert. I am not a polygot. I'm still learning Spanish and I want to learn Portuguese, I want to learn Italian. I would like to learn... There's many languages actually I would like to learn. Let's go through my tips on how to learn a language. New, yeah. And yeah. My first tip would be to be in the country where they speak the language you're trying to learn. It's not always possible, obviously. That's not always the case. If you have the chance to live in the country where they speak the language you're currently learning, it's going to be much easier. And why? Well, it's obviously because every time you go outside, that's what you hear. You hear people talking, you see the signs in the streets, you order food with the language. I think it's the best way and the fastest way to learn a language is to actually be fully into that environment. But we don't have all this chance, so I got other tips for you. Don't compare yourself with other. Don't compare your progress with other people. Why? Well, because it can get really depressing if you're doing so. Because you will see people around you learning, picking up languages faster than you. But that doesn't mean that you don't have the ability to learn a new language. It may just mean that it takes more time for you. Or also maybe you have a busier life and you put your time in other things, which is absolutely fine. So don't stress over other people's progression when it comes to learning a language. I mean, it's like any other skills. Everyone has a different rate of learning. This is not supposed to be affecting you because at the end of the day, you're doing for you, you're doing for yourself, and it's not a competition. If it's a competition, well, it's a competition against you and yourself. Another tip will be try to use Duolingo, but don't rely solely on that. I've been learning Spanish with Duolingo for like at least 4 or 5 months. And when I switched to Busuu and Pimsleurs, these actually made me learn Spanish so much faster. And the reason for it's because the way that Duolingo works is just alright. I feel like it's more of a translation game, memorization game, but when it comes to have genuine conversation with people, then you don't really have those tools. Duolingo is not providing you really those tools. So I think Duolingo is a good way to remind words, remind some phrases. It's a really good way to start to learn a new language. It's easy to use, it's fun to use. And also, well, you can use it on desktop, you can use it on mobile, so this is definitely a good way to start learning a new language. But when you try to bring it to the next level, I would suggest you to look at other alternatives. So it's good if you use Duolingo, but try to also add other things around it. Just don't focus on one way to learn a language. My other tip will be try to watch movies and series in the language you're learning. If you can have subtitles, well, what I would suggest you if you're just starting to learn that language, try maybe if your first language is English and you're learning French, try to watch a movie in French with English subtitles. And then the more comfortable you get, change the English subtitles to French. And then if you get even better, try to remove the subtitles. And then you're gonna see a difference in the way you are forcing yourself to understand by seeing the images. At the beginning, I was using subtitles, but I soon realized that the subtitles were not that accurate and not exactly translating properly the voiceovers. And well, this is just due to poor translation. But I also realized that when I removed the subtitles, I was able to concentrate myself more on the actual image, what is actually happening, instead of all the time looking down at the screen, reading the subtitles. Let's say you're going to a foreign country, you don't know the language. Let's say I go to Russia and I see two people having an argument. I will be able to get a picture of like a bit of what is happening, even though I don't know the language, while trying to bring this into my watching experience. If you are actually someone that streams a lot, you know, think about all the time you've been watching movies in your language, let's say English. All the time, every time before going to bed, you watch at least 2 hours of Netflix in English. Well, switch that up, switch to Spanish, and now you're going to have this workout going on while still watching the shows that you enjoy, but now just going to be in that language you're learning. Winner of managing your time. So you cannot come up with the excuse, well, you know, like I have a big day at work, and I always have a big day at work, and when I come back home, just want to relax, and then when I go into bed, I just want to relax and watch my movies or my series. Well, that's good. Now try to do the same, but with the language you're learning. Try to set yourself a schedule, just so you have some order in your learning. Wait, my cake, make some cake, sponge cake. Try to set a schedule, so you say, I'm going to try to do 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week at least. For some people, it might be not enough. Some people, it might be a lot of time. It really depends on how busy you are and how many things you're doing. By setting yourself a schedule, it's going to just add some order and maybe just some different mental state of just like, okay, I'm trying to commit to that schedule, so I don't find any excuses to be like, oh, I could do it later. When I finish work, the first thing that I do is I take at least 30 minutes to learn some Spanish. So I do a Pimsleur lesson, which is a 30 minutes audio conversation lesson, and this helps me a lot. And by doing it every day, I always feed myself with the language. Setting yourself a schedule will put things in order. Even if you do 15 minutes a day, it's still good. Don't tell yourself, oh well, I don't find the time to do it, and if I would find the time, it will be only 15 minutes, so is it really worth it? Well, yes, that's the thing. Learning a language will always be worth it. You might lose it with time if you're not using it, but when you will want to use it again for whatever reason, it will come back. Don't think it's a waste of time. It's always going to be a good thing to learn a new language. There's no good or bad reason for learning a language. You want to learn a language to get some chiquitas. You want to learn a language to actually work in a specific field where they require you to be able to speak that language. You want to be just able to converse with random people in the streets using that language. You want to be able to listen to all those music in that language and actually understand what they're saying. You want to watch your favorite movies. You want to read the book in the original language that is written of. You want to impress your friends. You want to impress your girlfriend or your boyfriend. No, but like, for real, like there's actually no good or bad reason to learn a language. It just brings you like openness to different cultures, and I think it's amazing learning a new language. It will always bring you some positivity. It won't be useless. It might be useless from like where you're living right now. So let's say I live in the UK and I'm currently learning Russian, and I don't have any Russian friends. I don't have anyone around me that speaks Russian, and then I'm like, oh well, this is a waste of time. Why I'm learning Russian? Well, you know what? Maybe you're gonna move there or to Russia, or maybe you will travel to Russia, and then you will be able to meet people from there and actually exchange in that language and have a way better whole experience. I personally think that learning a new language will never be an useless thing. My other tip will be try to have weekly conversation with native speakers. I don't have any friends, I don't know anyone, blah, 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 blah. There's tons of applications, networks where you can find native speakers that will be glad to talk with you. I'm giving you an example. There's Tandem. It's a really easy app to use. You get to speak with people. You get to choose even the topic you want to talk with. You have Busu, which I've been using since maybe 3 or 4 months, and it's a really nice one. Even on YouTube, you could search like in the comments, I'm looking for someone who would want to chat. You know, just try to maybe exchange your knowledge with someone. So someone is trying to learn English and you're trying to learn Spanish, then you both guys can actually end up having really a good vibe and talking together maybe once a week, have a 30 minutes conversation, and this is going to bring you to the next level because you will have a good insight from a direct native speaker. Don't be scared to make mistakes. Don't be scared to talk, to say out loud the words, what you're learning. Too many times when I speak with people here, they tell me, yeah, I learned some French at school maybe 4 years ago, but I don't remember jack shit, or I know a little bit of French, but I'm too shy because like I don't know if I pronounce the words properly. I'm shy, I'm scared, I don't want to be judged. Stop that. You know what? Because at the end of the day, you will always look better than someone that doesn't want to try or doesn't take the risk to try. I'm giving you an example. When I was in Montreal, some people will come to me and ask directions, and they will try to do it in French, and I could tell that they are not fluent in French, but there's actually no problems with that. I still like recognize that they wanted to, you know, to practice their French with me, which is amazing. And you have, yes, some people are really hassles and they will just like put you down like, hey, that's not how you pronounce the things, hey, no, that's not like that. But these people, you don't want to be close to these people, you know, like I'm talking about having genuine conversations with people that they want you to be able to speak this language at the end of the day. You will never learn properly if you don't allow yourself to make mistakes. If you just keep reading in the books how to say this thing, how to write this thing down properly, proper, and you just think about that, but you don't put your knowledge in practice, you will never learn as fast as someone that doesn't really care much about all that grammar, just go speak with the native speaker every week and just try to get that language, you know, in the brain. You memorize by speaking, you memorize by making mistakes. Oh, maybe you will do this mistake 5 or 10 times, but at the end, you will end up knowing properly, oh, look, I know it's not like that. I shouldn't say it this way because I've done it so many times, this mistake. So now it's in my head. And that's why, guys, don't be afraid to make mistakes. You have a computer, you have a cell phone, you might have a tablet, you might have a laptop. Well, you probably have something because you're watching this video currently. And what I want to say is, coming to my next tip, put your phone or your device, any device, in the language you're learning. Change the language to that one. Now you'll say, well, what the hell, man? That's going to confuse me a lot. Well, that's the point. That's good. That's what we want. You want to be confused, so like this, when you actually learn the words, it will get into your head. So I'm saying it always comes to this point where is try to put yourself in the environment, fully experience the language. So that's what I did. 3 or 4 months ago, I changed the language on my phone. Now it's in Spanish. I did the same on my laptop. And yes, sometimes it was a bit confusing because I didn't know the words. I was like, what is that? But now I know everything that I see. I got to learn these words now. So putting your device in the language you're learning is going to help you just to assimilate that language. You know what I'm saying? It will help you to assimilate this language. Funny story about that, by the way. Once I was at the airport, I was going to Barcelona first time to Spain, and my phone was in Spanish, and I had to rebook a flight because I missed the first one. And I was asking someone some help because the website was not working at all, and I was like trying to fill the form, and it was really just confusing. And I asked someone, hey, can you help me with that? And well, they look at my phone, they're like, well, I don't understand, this is in Spanish. I'm like, yeah. And it's like, well, what is written there? I'm just like, I don't know. And then and then they were like, well, I cannot help you. So that, yes, maybe for that was a bit like, maybe I did it too fast. Maybe I swapped the language on my phone a bit too fast, because at this point I didn't know much Spanish yet, and that was just making things a little bit harder for me because I had to rebook a flight in Spanish. Not the best experience, but definitely memorable experience for me. Another tip would be listen to music in that language, but it goes in the same as like watching movies or TV like series. So if you're not that much of a binge watcher, but you listen to music, a lot of music, well, you know, try to listen to some music in that language. Read the lyrics in a language and try to understand what they're saying. Translate, get to know the words, and you'll see words are coming back and again and again and again, and you will remember those words, and eventually it will help you to, you know, understand better the language you're learning. My last tip will be enjoy the journey. Enjoy. It will be rewarding at the end. At the beginning, I was having a hard time. I was not practicing a lot. I was not trying to speak it. I was really reserved. And now today, I'm trying to use it as much as I can, speak it as much as I can. So I will therefore learn this language faster. Again, this is not a race. There's no good or bad, there's no like fast or slow. It really depends on you yourself. If you want to say, I want to be fluent in 1 year, it may be possible, but for some people it takes 5 years, and also it depends on the language, because some languages are harder to learn than others. Don't stress too much about that, because at the end of the day, learning a language is the journey, and the journey is different from a person to another, and you shouldn't compare yourself with others. Focus on yourself, focus on your goals, and this is your journey. Enjoy it, and I swear, the more you learn, the more you exchange with that language, with people that speaks this language, the more rewarding it will be for you, and the more fun you will have. For me now, it's amazing. I am able now to have conversations in Spanish. Yes, there are still some things that I don't really know how to say, or I'm a bit like on the retreat of like, oh, maybe I cannot use that verb tense here specifically, but to have a really basic conversation, now I can do that with ease, and before I couldn't at all. So even if it's hard, even it's really, really hard for you to learn a new language, I do personally think that everyone has the ability to learn a new language if you're really putting the effort in it. So this covers all my tips on how to learn a new language. I hope this was helpful for you. I really love learning languages, and I think this is definitely just a start for me. Believe in yourself, and you will end up being able to speak that language that you're craving to be speaking fluently. It will happen. If you really want, if you really wish for, it will happen. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, drop down the comments. Si tienes pregunta, vale. Merci beaucoup, merci d'avoir écouté ma vidéo. Si tu as bien apprécié, donne-moi un like, comment, share, partage avec le monde que tu connais, que tu sais que eux, ils aimeraient bien apprendre une langue, puis ils sont comme pas trop sûrs de comment commencer. Mais je pense que cette vidéo-là va aider beaucoup de personnes. Make it poppin', make it poppin'. Have a good day, bonne journée.